What's up? Welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another versus video and we are doing 2016 versus 2024. So this is how I personally would do my makeup in 2016 versus how I do my makeup in 2024. So let's get into it. This is not going to be the same products. This is just meant to be the same techniques. So 2016 I was a year into my makeup journey and I'm very I'm more confident now than I was before. I will say that. So I have to say, I still, just like in the 2015 version, would have reached for an illuminating primer. So let's do this side, 2016. Let's do that side, 2016. But I never would have reached for a liquid highlighter in 2016. But I definitely would have reached for a glowing primer. I've always had pretty dry skin. And I've always said that primer should be an extension to your skincare. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to do. What I reach for now in 2024 would be the NYX Hydra Touch Oil Primer. I actually I put this one on first, and then once it's been settled into my skin after a while, I actually will double it up with that same primer. But I have also gone with just this oil primer before. Like I said, I have dry skin, so anything that's going to make my skin look dewy is going to make me feel better, and I feel like I have a more natural look. My boyfriend even likes me better, like my makeup. He likes my makeup better whenever it's more dewy and glowy. I still would have reached for an eye primer. I've always reached for eye primers, though. I'm not gonna lie. Ever since I got into makeup, I was always into the eye primer. So I'm just gonna use the Jason Wu on both sides, just like in 2015. However, I had learned in 2016 that setting your eye is a thing. Setting your eye is a thing. So we are going to blend this out. We are gonna set one eye. So we're going to set the 2016 eye because nowadays I would just leave it like this and I would just work like a little bit harder to blend my eyeshadow on top of it, because with it not being set, I have found that pigmentation and lasting is a lot longer for me personally. That's just me personally. And that's with basically every eye primer that I've come across. I find that if I set it, which I'm just going to set it with my translucent powder, because I would set with basically any powder I could get my hands on. So if I had to use a face powder, it's kind of like, so be it. I even would set with a powder foundation at some points. Just depends on, like I said, whatever I can get my hands on. But I have found with eye primers and eyeshadows in general, whenever you set it, the eye primer, you're going to get an easier blend, but you're not going to have as much pigmentation. So you're going to have to really build that shadow up, and you're going to have to, like, it's not going to last as long as it would if it's not set. So the palette I'm going to be using for today's demonstration is going to be my Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette. I love this, and I definitely think for me this just represents 2016 in a nutshell. I think that Modern Renaissance came out the next year from Anastasia, so that would have been the Rise of the Warm Towns. So how I would have did my makeup using this in 2016 would be, I would have started with this shade right here, which is called Lodge. It's a cream, it says CP, so I'm believing that's cream to powder, but it does not feel like a cream to powder. So I don't know what that's all about, but I would have started with this as a transition shade. And I am going to have to go back in because, like I said, you're going to get less pigmentation with the set eye than you would with the non-set eye. I'm going to take the green, which is called Bia. It also says it's a cream to powder, but I don't find these cream to powders. I find these more creamy mattes, honestly. And I'm going to put that just lower in the crease. Kind of like I want it like basically a hat for my lid, basically. Like I want the green to look like a hat for my lid. I really would not branch out too much with my makeup when I first started. I was not very creative in trying stuff like I am now, so you will probably notice over these few versus videos, if you're watching these all in a row, that my makeup style is very, very similar in the first few years because I was just learning. So I would have then taken this dark shade here called Dark Sepia, which it says it's a, I don't know what P stands for. I don't know what the P stands for. Bought these off of Natasha's website, so I know these are Natasha Denona. But I would take this and place this on the outer edge for definition because I was like, I have to use every single shade in a palette. I don't know why I was like that, but that's like just how I was back in the day. Then I would have took this shade here, which is called Anthea, which is a duochrome, on a separate clean finger. I would have placed that all over the lid. Then I would have merged the two with both fingers, blending back and forth. Because I loved to play with my fingers when it came to my makeup when I first got into makeup. Well, actually, when I got more comfortable with makeup back in 2016 is probably when I started playing a little bit more. The shimmers don't pop as much on this eye like they would on this eye because, again, my primer is set. So then I would have taken this gold shade, which is Do, which is a metallic, and it is so stunningly gorgeous, and I would have popped that in the center for a halo eye effect. Because in 2016, I was rocking halo eyes. I'm not gonna lie, I really, really was. I thought that the halo eye was perfect, and this is just how I would have did it. Now for how I would use this palette in 2024. Honestly, I probably would just take the Oro right here on a finger, spread that all over the lid. I don't think I got enough. And maybe a little messily in the crease, but I'm not going for like a one and done look like I did last time. Because I don't always go for a one and done look. I just think that those are the easiest looks. Then I think I would have taken the Lodge shade and blended that into the crease and blended that out. I'm a mom, so I don't really branch out with my makeup as much as I used to, say back in 2018, 19. And then I think I will take Theo, which is this other cream powder, the green one, and I would probably pack this in the outer corner because I prefer a matte shade on the outer edge whenever I'm doing that kind of a look. I think that this this palette just itself brings out my eyes pretty well, but that is how I would use the gold palette in 2016 versus 2024. You know, I came recently to a conclusion, probably about mid last year of 2023, that you don't have to use every single shadow of every palette for every look. It's fun to branch out and try different things. So 2016, I would not underpaint. We were reaching for the matte form or foundations, and I don't have a lot of matte foundations. I only have this matte foundation. It's the LA Colors Truly Matte Long Wearing High Pigment Foundation in the shade Natural. So that is what I will put on my 2016 side because everybody was reaching for the matte foundations. I am not a matte foundation girly. Even now, I'm not a matte foundation person. I like a more natural, glowy, dewy finish, whatever you want to say, because matte foundations do not look good on my dry skin. It tends to look like I am wearing makeup. On the 2024 side, I underpaint quite a bit, so I'm going to use my Anastasia Cream Bronzer. It's the shade Sunkissed. I don't think that we had cream bronzers back in the day, but 2016, I want to say, is probably the rise of contour. So We're gonna have some different looks. With the underpainting, I am gonna use my Magic Star blush in the shade Frosting Cult. I just use a tiny bit, and I always blend it out with a sponge, a wet sponge. And I always use my Stay Super Glow. Sometimes I use this as a primer on top of my oil primer, but I can guarantee you guys I never would have reached for a liquid highlighter in 2016 because it was all about the glow in 2016. That's when the glows were starting to happen, really. I'm going to show you guys some powder highlighters. Well, I'm going to show you one that I probably would have reached for in 2016 had it been made. So on this side, if I wanted a foundation that was cheaper, that was going to give me a nice look, that's not, because I don't reach for matte foundations. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, my skin does not look good. I would reach for this ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation in the shade Light 45W. This is a pretty good shade match for me if I'm remembering correctly. It's honestly one of my favorite foundations that I have in my stash. I reach for this, like I said, whenever I want a more affordable hydrating foundation, because all of the foundations that I do tend to reach for are hydrating. That's just because that's like what I go for. So it makes sense that like all of my foundations are basically the same type of formula. Like this, just honestly, in my opinion, looks so much better. Like so much better. The LA Colors foundation, if you like it, you like it. I just like a dewy finish more. I'm pretty sure the rise of Shape Tape happened this year. So I do have the Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape in the shade 8B Porcelain Beige. So everybody was doing the triangle, so I'm gonna try and do something. Because I do not like this. I do not like how much concealer we used to use. Like, yeah, I do a triangle, but I just kind of like on the everyday. That might seem like a lot of concealer, but that's all I do typically on the everyday. That's it. I am going to blend with my wet sponge. Highlighting in 2016, I think, as well. So I'm going to take what's left on my sponge and go like this, and then up here. The rise of baking. So I'm going to take my powder, and I'm just going to set over here how I typically would, which I just take the excess. I don't care if I have extra powder. If you don't stop doing that, I'm going to take that from you. And I push it into my under eye concealer just to make sure it's really set. But in 2016, people were taking that powder and they were caking that on. They were caking this shit on. And honestly, like, I never felt that this made my under eyes any better looking than what I just did over here. Because this is so much. I'm telling you, when I take this makeup off, everywhere that I put all this powder is gonna be so super dry. That's just because I'm dry. Their powder, and they were like, whoop. Like, it was Jaclyn Hill that did this, right? Jaclyn Hill was the one that started, like, the swoop of this, like, to cut your cheekbones. I'm very positive it was Jaclyn Hill that started this. I never got into that personally, really too much. As soon as I like did it a couple of times in 2016, I was like, that's not for me. That is just not for me. Like, it's in my hair. Oh my gosh, it's in my hair. It's in my hair. So I'm gonna set with my powder foundation really fast. Who would do their brows while this was baking? So I'm gonna go ahead, since I just set my foundation over here, I'm gonna do my brows. I have a February brow routine, if you guys are curious. For side brow, and now we are going to do this side brow. I'm going to use the Kokie Brow Pomade Gel. I have mine in the shade Blonde. Mine's a little dried up, but this is the only one that I have. So I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it work. I just want you guys to know it is dried up, but it wasn't really a good shade for me. Remember the block brow? Remember the block brow? We're bringing that back in this video. I hope that that is not something that people have decided to bring back. Since everybody's like, oh, 2016 makeup is making a comeback. Like, we made some mistakes in 2016 with our makeup. And work more on the eyeshadow because I feel like that's what people would do with this, right? That's what people would do when they were waiting for this to like bake. So honestly, this side, for the 2024 side, I'm just going to take the two matte shades, run those on the lower lash line, just very, very gently. And the green shade just staying on the outer corner. And then literally, I'm going to honestly call this done because I want to highlight. I'm just going to reach into my Hourglass highlighter, ambient lighting highlighter in Ethereal Light, and pop that right there because I love putting this in the inner corner. I think that it just adds a little ethereal glow, honestly. So for this side, we have to be super duper dramatic, like super duper dramatic. So I have a lot of products. I would not have used a brow bone highlight that was matte. So I'm gonna take Spotlight from this Chic Glam palette. And I know that it's too dark because this palette does not have a good highlighting shade for me, but actually that kind of worked. I'm going to take that same shade and pop that in the inner corner as well. And just take this bake off. I'm sorry, I want to. It looks so horrible up close. Like, it looks so bad. It looks dry and lifeless. Like, honestly, it just looks so bad. It looks so bad. So what I feel like I would have did is, honestly, I would have taken those two matte shades and did the same thing that I did on the other eye, except the green is all over my crease, so I would have dragged that everywhere. I would have took that dark shimmer shade and mirrored upper. Then I would take that gold and I would have placed it right here in the center on the lower lash line, directly under where it is on the upper, to kind of like mirror it. Mascara. So this is where I would have really felt comfortable with my gel pot eyeliners, but I don't actually have any anymore. So I'm going to use my gel pencil eyeliner from Rimmel London. I'm just going to use it in both looks because I do have only this eyeliner pencil, so I always reach for this. But 2016, I was going for the cat eye, but I was going for a cat eye in a different way. So just let me do this line and I'll be right back. Remember, I was doing this with a brush and a gel pot liner. But she was saying, if you can't get the perfect cat eye, all you gotta do is just draw a line out from where like everything is. And honestly, this looks good. This does look good. It's just not my preferred wing anymore because it's just a line whenever my eyes are closed. I'm going to do a wing over here because if I was doing this look in 2024, I would put a wing on it. So I'm going to use my Maybelline Master Precise All Day Matte Liquid Liner because I always reach for a pen liner. I just find that these are easier to use than the gel. I thought about buying gel eyeliner before, but then I was like, I never liked the fact that I had the brush that I had to clean off. Then if you didn't clean it off, it got goopy and like it was just so bad. It was so bad. My mascaras, like I said, are all the same basically no matter what. So see the difference in liners, but they're basically the same. So I'm just gonna use my Maybelline or my L'Oreal Telescopic Lift mascara. Mascaras that were like hyped back then, I would have to say Better Than Sex by Too Faced and Benefit Roller Lash. So I'm gonna go into my Pure Sculptor palette, and I'm gonna take Founder, which is way too dark for me, but that is the shade I'm gonna take because we were on contouring trend, people. That is what 2016 was. Everybody was changing their face shape with contour. And contour typically is ashy. It's gray. Bronzer is going to be warm. So I didn't want no warmth over here at all. Even though like this is just it's too dark for me. Oh my god, and I even went in with a light hand. Oh no, I'm going to be walking around my family in this. Like I'm so trying to blend this, but it's just making it worse in my opinion. Uh it's just making it worse. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. I don't know. But over here, I would use the Rhea bronzer from Thrive Cosmetics. That's what I'm going to use on my 2024 side. I have been loving this bronzer. Cannot wait to show you guys what this area should look like. So let me know what you guys prefer. This side is just so dry and matte, and there's just nothing there. So everything is just gripping onto everything. This looks more bronzy and natural. Um, so for blush, I got into poppy blushes. Very, very poppy blushes. So allow me to show you a poppy blush. Just started out with my natural blush that I always reach for. But this is literally what I was reaching for because when I finally got Unafraid of Blushes, I thought that lighter blushes were just not enough for me. So I would go for the darker shades. Yeah. This one is really, really weird because I'm fair, but I have very, very golden undertone in person. So colors that are for fair people don't always work for me. But I'm going to take Toasted Cinnamon from Burt's Bees, which is just my perfect everyday blush that I have been wearing in 2024 right now. That side, and I just love that. That just gives me just the nicest glow and look. Yeah, yeah, I would reach for I would like I said, like because of the way my skin tone is, it was really weird for me to find a blush that kind of like matched well with my skin because if I went for blushes for fair skinned people, the problem that I had is that my undertone was so yellow that it just that made the blush just basically disappear as soon as it's on my face. So I went for darker blushes, thinking, oh, I can make this work. And I went ham. I went ham. I went ham because I was still learning, but we are in highlighter. So this is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glow Nude Highlighter. This is in the shade 750 Sunkissed, and everybody was glowing to the moons with highlighter. So that is what we are going to try to do. We are going to do the big stripe. Everybody was doing that. Put it down the bridge of their nose, lips. We even highlighted our highlight. Basically, and I still don't like this. I can't get enough highlighters. This is just not a good formula. But highlighters weren't blingy like I like now back in 2016. They were just getting to that phase. In today's world, today is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting highlighter. This is just a powder. It's actually meant to be a finishing powder, but I love it as just a nice highlighter because it just kind of melts into my skin so perfectly, and it goes really, really well with basically everything that I put. 9 times out of 10, I'm actually doing my tip of my nose instead of everywhere, but I mean, I will do it sometimes, but most of the time I just rather would do the tip of my nose. The face basically finished. So I talked about it in my previous video where I would not use a lip liner. I just recently started using a lip liner. So I used the Wet n Wild Gel Lip Liner in the shade Doll in Love Again. This is just my everyday liner. And I am in February when I'm filming this. I don't know when these are set to go up, but I am in February filming this. So I've been reaching for red lips lately. So I'm going to wear Jeffree Star Cosmetics' Supreme Gloss in Watermelon Soda just because if I was doing this look, this is the gloss I would reach for. So this is the look. And then in 2016, I would reach for this Milani lipstick. I have the shade Matte Blissful. I never used to do nudes. I talked about this in my previous video. I thought, why would I get a nude lipstick when my lips are already nude? Why would I do that? So I would always reach for a red, a purple, a pink, something like this was probably like a more natural go-to for me at the time. So we're going to put Matte Blissful on. Was a thing in 2017 or 2016. I just don't think that like a lot of brands had really reached out into it yet. So I'm gonna set both sides. I was turned away from you. I don't think you got it, buddy. Lashes was just not for me. I was not wearing false lashes in 2016. I didn't start wearing false lashes until 2020. I want to say 2022, 2023 in that area. So I'll be right back. 11 lashes. These are my go-to lashes for every day. So it makes sense that I would put it on the 2024 side. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. So here is 2024 with the mini gold palette. And then here is the 2016 version of what Kira would wear in 2016. It looks like a lot of makeup. And honestly, if I get close to you guys, I think that like you can see it's like a lot of makeup. It looks caked on. It looks bad up close on camera. And it looks bad up close honestly, like in this mirror, my pores aren't not there. They're not there. But my pores aren't here either. So that's not really a thing for me. I don't really care because my pores don't usually like go out like that. It's just like it's more about like I feel better in this makeup because I can feel that there is a mask of makeup over here. I don't like the blush. I don't like the contour. I love the bronzer and the blush over here. I love the statement lip. I'm feeling it. Anyways, that has been my version of 2016 makeup versus 2024 makeup. I want to know what you guys think. Which look do you guys actually prefer? I prefer this look, obviously, because it's less makeup, and I'm a mom, so I prefer less makeup, honestly, especially on my eyes. I just want to look naturally beautiful. But anyways, let me know what you guys prefer. I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye, y'all.